1940. Hitler's ruthless quest to extend Germany's borders has his people at war with the world. The mobilization of armies by Britain and France proves no deterrent as the Nazis invade their European neighbors to the north and west, while extending their reach eastward towards Russia's critical oil fields. By fall, Germany's lightning war to soften England is launched, and America increases production, racing to aid the British. By 1941, the battle for North Africa is on, as Rommel's Afrika Korps arrives in Tripoli. On the Eastern Front, an impatient Hitler breaks his pact with the Soviets. Stalin responds with a scorched earth policy, intent on leaving only ruins for the Nazi invaders. But one by one, his cities fall. Now, in 1942, massive German air raids commence against Stalingrad, and the battle for this noble city turns vicious. The Red Army refuses to retreat, and a counteroffensive is launched against a force that now stretches from the Volga to the Atlantic and deep into the African desert. Against impossible odds, millions come forward to answer the call of their countries, their families, their lives.
Welcome to Stalingrad. You're about to begin the greatest moment of your life. The Germans have lost hundreds of tanks and planes. Hitler's brutalized hordes are now advancing towards Stalingrad over mountains of their own dead bodies. Our Bolshevik party, our nation, our great country have given us the task not to let the enemy reach the Volga and to defend the city of Stalingrad. Forward against the enemy, up into the unremitting battle, comrades, for Stalingrad, for our great country, not one step back. Cowards and traitors will be shot. Do not count days, do not count months, count only the number of Germans you have killed. Kill the German, this is your mother's prayer. Kill the German, this is the cry of your Russian earth. Do not waver, do not let up, kill! Death to the German invader! Let's move! Go, go! Move! Get off the boat!
By controlling North Africa, the Axis powers would have a better chance of holding the Mediterranean, now the epicenter of the war. Unfortunately for Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, his army is ill-prepared to withstand the British forces in the region. Hitler, fearful that more losses in Africa would jeopardize his efforts on the Russian front, sends General Rommel and his Afrika Korps to clean up the mess. By 1942, the Allies decide that the best way to break the Axis powers back is to create another front. An Operation Torch is born of British and American troops. A well-supported, coordinated push through enemy lines, depleting and destroying fuel, food, and equipment would mean the eventual fall of the Third Reich in Africa, weakening Axis aggression throughout the world. All goes as planned, and by January 1943, British General Montgomery's 8th Army has Rommel and his troops on the run, scrambling to make their valiant last stand at the Mareth Line.
Listen up, chaps. The Jerrys have a cozy little setup in this village here. Our job is to break as much equipment as possible, and then dash out before they even know what hit them. Troop B will drive the jeeps behind the Germans and pepper them with machine gun fire. I lead Troop A through town to knock out their communications and burn up their petrol reserves. Carlisle, you're the man with the demolitions. We'll cover you while you set the tank and save 4 charges. We'll have to get in and out before everything becomes all spotlights, sirens, and rifles firing. Cock your guns, wet your sights, and ride on. Let's go.
By 1944, in the battle to regain their Russian homeland, the Red Army crushes the German pocket at Stalingrad, marking the first major defeat of Hitler's armies. On June 6th, D-Day, the Allies stage a massive sea and air invasion on the Normandy coast that will soon lead to a full-scale retreat of Germany's once powerful armies across France and Belgium. Inspired by this success, British Field Marshal Montgomery devises a plan he insists will end the war by Christmas, codenamed Market Garden. With momentum on their side, the Allies attack Germany's industrial heartland from the north, attempting to outflank the powerful Siegfried Line, intending to drive on to Berlin. But Montgomery's plan fails miserably when the final bridge across the Rhine cannot be secured. Painful defeat and staggering losses destroy all hope for an early end to the war, and surviving Allies are ordered back to France. Fortunately, by October, with the Siegfried Line finally breached from the west, the Americans prepare for the capture of Aachen, a city destined for the dubious distinction of being the first major German city to fall to Allied forces.
This is it. We're taking Aachen today. The Germans in the town square are cut off from their command and control. But those old buildings are solid enough to resist shelling. Orders are to escort the M12 to the town square, clearing buildings of German resistance on the way. Once we're inside the city hall, the M12 will blow the sumbitch to pieces. Stay close behind the tanks for cover and protect them from German anti-armor. We lose the Shermans and we're all dead. Let's saddle up and get it done.
Sarge, some of those old buildings are too fortified for the tanks to take out. What are we gonna do about them?
Relax, Benny. We're gonna knock them all down.
March 1945. With the bridge across the Rhine into Remagen secured, the Allies pour into Germany, bringing the fight against the Nazis directly to the Third Reich's doorstep. German forces in the Ruhr River Valley surrender as the Soviets reach Berlin. The once proud, seemingly invincible German army, which had sought to usurp additional territory from neighbors as far as the Soviet Union to the western edge of Europe and North Africa, is now forced to desperately defend and hold on to its own original homeland. The unconditional surrender of all German forces to the Allies, without which President Roosevelt had declared the war could not end, would not be long in the making. A world that had long been at war would soon be able to rejoice.